Hey everybody, this is EGO Punch Two Face. So I just want to just before clear something up. No, I don't have, aim assist on the mosquito. That's all skill right there. I just I just wanted to start off a clip with a cool shot that I had the other day. I was getting shot down in the mosquito and had kind of a little 180 quick scope headshot right here. Is like say what? But yeah, so this video is just kind of a commentary to talk about PlanetSide 2 a little bit. It's amazing game. I think they did a fabulous job on it. Everything from the scale of the battles to the graphics. Considering the scale of the battles, you can't obviously have Battlefield 3 graphics on a game like this. They're just your computer won't be able to handle it. Their servers won't be able to handle it. They don't have much ragdoll physics in it because that would be far too much data for their netcode to handle. Sometimes their servers freak out. You get into the big battles and things like that, and they kind of freak out a little bit. The people will disappear. You get a lot of lag. Grenades will bounce off things that don't exist, which is one of the most frustrating things that I think I've experienced. This clip I'm playing right now is just we tried to take one of the tech plants, and I want to say this is Esamir. I don't recognize the planets yet, but we were trying to take a tech plant. We didn't end up taking it. We kind of got our butts kicked. We got really close, and then they pushed us back out, but this goes through the whole thing. Mostly on this video, I just wanted to kind of talk about the game, what they did with it. The other people have tried to do a game like this. I'm drawing a blank on what they were called, but there's been a couple that have tried to have the MMO FPS genre of having this massive scale first-person shooter where you have battles of hundreds versus hundreds, and nobody's been able to really do it until PlanetSide 2. It's hard to describe. They did a very good job on it. Obviously, there's going to be parts of it that are bad. As I was saying, there's the whole thing of people disappearing. Their servers can't handle it. What it is their render distance on the enemies and friendlies as well. If there's over X many people in the same area, it will drop the distance that it will render players and vehicles and things like that. So you have to actually get fairly close to the enemies or like I said, the friendlies to actually see them. And since it is a server-side issue, it's not a problem only with just their models not showing up. Your client doesn't see that they're there at all. So you can't shoot them, you can't kill them with grenades, because technically, as far as your game is concerned, they don't exist. It gets frustrating. I think in this clip, this video, there's a couple parts where it does that a little bit. I'm not completely sure. It's been a little bit since I've watched this all the way through, but other than that, they did an incredible job between everything from balancing the different factions to balancing the guns that they have. As most of you know, each faction will have a race-specific main battle tank and a race-specific fighter aircraft. If you're not aware what those are, the Vanu Sovereignty, the purple guys, these are the guys that I'm shooting at right now, they have a mag rider as their main battle tank. It's kind of a hovering craft with a fixed turret on the front of it, so they actually have to turn the entire tank to aim it. And then their can't think of the word. Their racial specific fighter plane is a scythe, which is kind of a UFO type aircraft. And then you have the new conglomerate, which are the blue guys. They have a Vanguard, which is a highly armored tank that you can upgrade with a shield, and it causes it to be fairly hard to blow up sometimes. And then their attack craft is a Reaver, which I guess its benefit is it has the longest afterburner of any of them. It's fairly maneuverable. It's not quite as fast, but it can afterburner longer than anybody else. And then you have the Terran Republic, which I play. They have a Prowler as their main battle tank, and it has a 2-barreled cannon on it that can shoot 2 rounds that do about half damage. And its special thing is it can anchor itself in place, and it increases your decreases your reload time on the main cannon, which can actually really help a lot. I think it increases it by you can decrease the fire time by 48% or something like that. And then their main attack aircraft is a Mosquito that supposedly has the quickest acceleration of any of the aircraft. The Scythe has the fastest turning. I forgot to mention that. They did a good job balancing all of them. I know I'll complain sometimes that the Scythe is overpowered because it can outturn anybody, or the Reaver is overpowered because it can afterburner longer, or any of their tanks or anything like that. How the Mag Rider can, since it hovers, it has full 360-degree movement. It can't turn the turret because it doesn't have one. It's attached to the front, like I said, but it can hover to the sides or diagonally or anything like that. But if you really look at how all of them are put together, it really evens out, because even though the Mag Rider can dodge the shells or the rockets at long range, all you have to do really is get close, turn your turret to the side on the Prowler or the Vanguard, and just gun it forward, and it'll have a hard time keeping up with your tank, and you can almost drive circles around it if you're in the right position for it. And so they all have their ups and downs to them, but overall I think they're very balanced. They did a great job with that. They one of the other things that I also love that they did is they didn't necessarily make one particular class absolutely dominant over everything else. That's a big problem that a lot of MMO style games have, is you have one class that is just amazing. So take for example World of Warcraft back when it was an older game, or a newer game, I guess. In vanilla WoW, the rogue was the top dog no matter what. If you were a dagger rogue, you could two-shot a mage or two-shot a warlock or a priest or anything like that, and then you would just stun lock a warrior or a paladin to the point that he died. Sony Online Entertainment did a fabulous job balancing the classes, where they all have their strengths and weaknesses. You have an infiltrator where long range cannot be matched long range. Nobody else has guns that'll kill anybody in one shot at that far of a range, that has almost zero bullet travel time. But then you look at them close up and they're incredibly gimped. They don't have much close range abilities. You really rely on getting headshots with an infiltrator, and if you don't get headshots and you don't have time for a second shot, chances are you're going to die. And then you have a light assault, where light assault is the most maneuverable class in the game. They can get anywhere because they have a jetpack, and their weapons are fairly strong. They have a very high rate of fire on them. but at the same time, they almost kind of run into the same problem that the Infiltrator has, where they have more close range abilities. But say if you put a light assault versus a heavy, the heavy's probably going to win because he has the ability to overshield, which is his thing. But long range, they're not very good. They're kind of slow. They're in certain situations, they're kind of gamped. They run out of ammo, and then you have a combat medic where they have the ability to heal, obviously, and they can revive people and stuff like that. But their guns don't tend to do quite as much damage. They tend to be either a little slower rate of fire, or their bullets are slower, or they're not quite as accurate. Unless, I mean, obviously you have a weapon like the NS-11A, where it's, I think, the most accurate assault rifle in the game, but it's not accurate like that full auto. You have to single shot with it to get it to do that. And then obviously you have the Max, where up close and personal, there's not very much that'll beat it. If they're in your face, you're basically screwed. Those anti-infantry cannons that they can get are absolutely monstrous, and if they put 2 bursters on it, they will shred air vehicles apart, especially if you get 2 or 3 of them grouped up together. But if you get much past about 30 yards from them, they can't hit you. Their guns are so inaccurate that it doesn't matter up close, but if you get very far away, they're probably not going to hit you, and you can just spray them down almost no matter what class you are, aside from probably an Infiltrator. Usually I'll try to hit a Max a couple times when I play Infiltrator, but other than that, I won't worry about it too much. But all the classes are very balanced. They did a wonderful job on it. I'm actually very impressed with how they did that. And same with the vehicles. I'll get frustrated sometimes, because I play Infiltrator a lot, and I'll try to do things that I shouldn't do, such as overcommit, or I'll get seen while I'm in my cloak or something like that, and I'll kind of get mad because I start getting shot at. I can't do anything against vehicles as an Infiltrator. You rely on not being seen, or not necessarily not being seen, but not being targeted. I'm sure there's a lot of times that people will see me, but most Infiltrators really aren't much of a threat, because people realize that they really have to hit you in the head, and most of the time, they're not going to hit you in the head. Most Infiltrators don't have a very good shot. Me being one of them. I tend to miss a lot. But I'm trying to think of how to say it. Like I was saying, it's more so of not being the target than not being seen. And not being seen is a great way to reduce your target status. If they don't know you're there, obviously they're not going to shoot at you. But don't stick out, I guess, is the thing. Don't be the one, running up through the middle first, which I think I actually do in this video at one point. Don't be the one running up through the middle first without your cloak on to try to, capture the control point. You're going to get killed, because people understand that if they try to do a one-on-one close quarters battle with you, they're probably going to win if they're anything other than an Infiltrator as well. And then at that point, it's whoever gets the first shot and hit a whole bunch of stuff. Who gets the hits and who doesn't really at that point. But yeah, I'm just so impressed with how Sony actually went through and balanced these classes to the point where each one has major strengths and each one has major weaknesses, but they designed the game to be played as a team, and so it all evens out. So the weaknesses of an Infiltrator are made up by the close quarters weaknesses of an Infiltrator get made up by the close quarters strengths of something like a light assault or a heavy assault or any of an engineer or something like that. And then you have the long range, where a light assault has almost zero long range capability, but you have Infiltrators, and so they have their snipers in the back that keep taking out your guys. Well, you have an Infiltrator that can counter snipe them. or vehicles that can help. So you can have a ton of tanks on the opposite side, and you get a bunch of heavies on your team, and their tanks don't mean anything at that point if you have enough heavies. Or they have a bunch of tanks, well, you have a mosquito or a reaver or something like that has the rocket pods that's just going to absolutely demolish that tank. And so it's just, I love how they made it so that everything evens out in the massive battles that they built into this game. They, like I said, I'm just incredibly impressed with how they did that. There not many games can do that. Even Battlefield 3 is kind of, it's Battlefield 3. I love the game, but the M16A3 is garbage. I will leave it at that. But this commentary obviously isn't about Battlefield 3. It's about the amazing game of PlanetSide 2. I guess I'll kind of go into just an overview of the game more so than what I've been doing. For those that don't know, what PlanetSide 2 is it's you have 3 continents. You have Endar, Esamir, and what is the third one? Endar, Esamir, and Amarish. One is a desert planet, one is a snow planet, and the other one's kind of a volcanic forest. And you have 3 factions: the Vanu Sovereignty, the New Conglomerate, and the Terran Republic. They're all fighting for control of these continents. And they're split up into different control points, and if you capture a control point, you'll control that area, and it'll allow you to move further. So if you don't own anything connecting to a particular control point, you can't just get in a galaxy, which is the big troop transport aircraft, and fly over there and drop into some random control point and take it. You have to actually own something that bumps up against it, and based on how much of the surrounding area you own that is touching that particular control point, it'll affect how fast you're able to capture it. And so you fight over these control points, and eventually you want to push the other factions back all the way to their warp gates, at which point you would capture the continent. And then, depending on which continent it is, your whole server will get a bonus for your faction, and it reduces the resource cost of one of the 3 categories. You have mechanized resources, aerospace resources, and infantry resources. Each continent that, if you capture it, it will reduce the cost of those buying things with a particular resource category by 10%. So say if you capture, I believe Endar reduces your infantry resource cost. Say you capture Endar and you're the last faction to fully conquer it. Your things like grenades and mech suits and claymores and med kits and C4, things like that you would buy with infantry resources are reduced by 10%, and that can add up. Because grenades are 45 infantry resources. I just unlocked claymores and they're 75, so it took me a little bit to fill up the full 40 that I'm able to have in my inventory. Because they're 75 apiece, so I had to I'd buy a couple of them and then wait for it to gain resources again a little bit, and then buy a couple more. The way you gain resources is owning those control points on the continents. So each control point will generate a certain number of a certain type of resource every 4 or 5 minutes. I don't remember how often it actually resets and adds on again, but those will gradually build up, and then you spend them, and so the whole objective is to try to capture the stuff, and every once in a while at some of the bases you will get these absolutely incredibly large battles. They tend to be at places like biolabs, tech plants, amp stations, which are the bigger bases, and you'll get battles of 200 versus 150 versus 130, all trying to either defend or capture these big bases. and they're actually quite a lot of fun. I really enjoy sniping on them because on those battles people tend to stand still. Sorry, I burped. People tend to stand still a lot, and that makes a good day for getting headshots as a infiltrator, which is a one-hit kill on everybody except for a max. I've seen it go both ways on the heavies with an overshield. I'm not quite sure if it's 100% of a one-hit kill with the heavy with an overshield if you hit him in the head, but it's probably 95% of the time I do it, it will kill them. I think most of the time that when it doesn't, I actually hit them in the neck or the very upper chest, and so it's technically not a headshot, but it will almost kill them. It'll take down their whole overshield, all of their shield, and most of their health, and they'll be down to 1 or 2 bars of health. But I guess pretty much I just kind of want to give a thumbs up to Sony for just creating a wonderful game. And it's free to play. Yeah, I pay for the premium membership just so I can get the queues and the extra experience. And then I've bought some station cash to upgrade some of my weapons and things like that. But I like how they allow you to upgrade yourself to a point with the real money, but they didn't make it a pay to win. They didn't make it like Star Wars: The Old Republic, where if you play on the free to play version of the game, it's absolute crap. You can't do anything. You can't sprint. You can't do battlegrounds without paying real money. You can't do dungeons without paying real money. You can't do the operations, which are the raids. You can't do the raids without paying real money. They basically made it so that you can go through your quest line by yourself and not play with anybody else without paying paying real money to do it, which is not free to play. That's kind of just stupid. But they did a really good job, because a lot of people complain that PlanetSide 2 is pay to win, but I think that will die down in the next little bit, because people are going to start having everything, and then after a couple months people are going to have enough unlocked that they can spend the high amount of certifications to unlock the new weapons and to unlock the bonuses with them and things like that. And then after a couple months, I think that the only thing that people really spend store cash on is cosmetic things like camos, helmets, decals, things like that. I think it will even out a lot in the next couple months. I'm optimistic about that, because I know sometimes I get kind of frustrated because I don't have the rocket pods on my Mosquito or anything like that, or the flares or anything, and so I kind of get owned when I fly the Mosquito. As you could see in the beginning of the clip, I didn't even try to fight it. Once I got locked on and they started really shooting at me, I just dropped it down and bailed out. But I think it will really even out a lot in the next couple months once people really start getting more certs, and they have the things that are necessary, and then they can kind of start going into the branching out into the vehicle unlocks and the different weapons and stuff like that. Like in the past, and I think in the last day or two, I've almost all the way unlocked my cloak recharge utility, and I just unlocked claymores today, which it was a total maybe 400 or 500 certifications. And so once I'm done with all that stuff, I'll be able to drop my certifications into to getting the rocket pods, or to getting the flares on the Mosquito, or upgrading the guns that I have on the Liberator or anything like that. But like I said, I think in the next little bit it'll kind of calm down, and people will kind of chill out about the whole it's pay to win, this guy's freaking bullcrap because he spent real money on all of his guns, when really none of the guns that you can buy are necessarily any better than anything else. I mean, aside from, you have like the Dalton cannon on the Liberator, and the Zephyr cannon, and you have the rocket pods on the aircraft that make an incredible difference on anti-infantry and anti-vehicle, but really that's really about it. Though anything else, any of the guns, the infantry weapons that you can get with store cash or certifications are the guns you start with are fine. They really are. I mean, unless obviously the TR and the VS sniper rifles that they start with on the Infiltrator are both semi-automatic, and they I would recommend getting a bolt action. I will admit I bought store cash and I bought the SAR 42, and I think I got the M77 Bravo as well. Just because the semi-automatic take 2 headshots to get a kill, and most of the time they get hit once, they're not going to stand still after that, and so it really helps a lot to have the bolt action, especially when the new conglomerate, the NC, start off as their primary, their beginning sniper rifle on the Infiltrator is the bolt driver, which is a bolt action gun that has the 1-hit kill on the headshots. But overall, I think they did a really good job, as I've said about 100 times. But I guess I'll shut up now and let you guys finish the video. I think it's probably got a couple minutes left or something like that. But I just hope you guys enjoy the video. I got a couple good kills on these clips and thought you guys would like to see it, you know. But I am gonna stop recording now. Take care, everybody. Hope you enjoy the rest of the video.
Generator stabilized.
Actually, they're taking the bio lab right now. We gotta take it back. There's only 3 people there.
Generator compromised. Generator stabilized.
Alright, hold on guys, I'm changing. Bravo team, go to the bio lab. It needs defense.
Generator compromised.
We need more defense at the biolabs, guys.
Generator stabilized.
Hey, someone help me keep this jump pad room. If we can stop them from using this jump pad room, that cut them off from jumping up top and taking the base up there.
I need a medic over here! I need an engineer!
Generator compromised.
If we can hold this jump room, we can prevent them from jumping up.
Hey, where do you need our Bravo squad at?
At the biolab. For defense.
Right.
Have any spare ammo?
Not fighting like TR! Manu's sovereignty has taken the facility.
I just deployed a Sunder right next to the lift beds.